Good afternoon, everybody. It's the Dog with you. Another edition of Weber This Week is on tap. Where has the months gone by? Can you believe it? 4th of July weekend coming up. Seems like it's going awful fast this year. It is the 26th of June, 2017. A couple of my old pals are in the studio today from Seneca Meadows. Kyle Black, the general manager of Seneca Meadows, and gentleman ahead of community relations, a buddy of mine for many years, Mark Benjamin. Mark, thanks for coming in. It's good to have you along.
Thank you, Harold. Nice to be back.
Kyle, always good to see you.
As always, Dog. Great time.
Great time, and we're going to talk about Seneca Meadows and what's on tap, what they're doing out at the Seneca Meadows landfill, and we're going to talk about some other issues as well. First off, Kyle, thanks for spending some time. I know you're a busy guy along with Mark, so we appreciate you carving out some time to come in and do the show. Let's talk a little bit about the obviously the local law. We talked about that way back when, the last time you were on the air. We had local law 3 in place at the Seneca Falls Town Board. That was the vote then. You did not wasn't gracious about that local law 3. You thought there was a lot of areas that could be improved. And all of a sudden we had an election, and local law 2 now has been introduced as the law of the land for now. What were your opinions of that? How did you feel about it? I know that you had some reservations about the way the law was originally, but now the new law, too. Could you give us an explanation to our viewers? What's the major differences?
Well, the bottom line is local law 2 repeals local law 3.
Gotcha.
Local law 3 was a law that, as we said all along, was not something we could support. It, in effect, puts an end date to our business. And frankly, that's just not something from my own personal view as a taxpayer in Seneca County I ever want to see any government telling a law-abiding, tax-paying, large community employer to shut down. So that was a very big onerous part of that law, and luckily we have a new town board in that's much more business friendly, that's really taken that ball and run with it. They're doing some great things, trying to work on their own house, on the spending and on departments, and the departments are working with them great, and it's a lot more positive direction that we seem to be going. To Supervisor Lazzaro's credit, he said all along, let's try to work together on things, and let's not beat each other over the head when we all live in this little neck of upstate New York.
And I think Greg Lazzaro pointed out, too, Mark and Kyle, that he wanted to negotiate, not litigate. That was his theory. We should look at it, Kyle, relative to, and we'll get to Mark in a minute, as you look at the atmosphere on Seneca Meadows. Certainly there are people that are obviously proponents of Seneca Meadows. There obviously is some people that are anti-Seneca Meadows and stay up all night and probably all day wondering about how they can affect you adversely in a way. The mood of the vote on the board, granted it was passed 3-2. Do you go to bed nights thinking sometimes, you never know what's going to happen. You have some detractors. You have some people that are positively for you and for the operation. Does that do mind games with you, or do you say that's just politics?
That's politics. We as human beings, everybody's passionate about their thing. There's definitely a group there that's very passionate about us and has been passionate, and in the foreseeable future, I'm sure will continue to be passionate. However, we're also passionate about what we do, protecting the environment and protecting the groundwater and the air, having good paying jobs that our employees that live within 15 minutes of the facility can buy houses, pay their taxes, go to Bill Cram's and buy new vehicles, can do all those great things. That's also very important to the community.
And as a result, just to follow up too, Kyle Black's my special guest along with Mark Benjamin representing Seneca Meadows. Good to have you here on the Weber Show on a Monday, a beautiful Monday. You obviously felt obligated along with your executive corps, your headquarters, the Article 78 that was put on the town board of Seneca Falls was lifted. Give us some thought process behind that, because they work with Seneca Meadows. You decided maybe you wanted to work along with them and not become, like you say, litigate versus negotiate?
That's correct. Basically, local law 2, once it was filed and official, rendered the Article 78 non-necessary. Okay. So we voluntarily pulled it as soon as we knew local law 2 was in effect. Again, from day one, we said we would litigate against Local Law 3. It was a bad law for Seneca Falls. It sets a bad precedence for this area and our industry and in general, and we were going to do everything within our power to have that law not move forward.
And my friend Mark Benjamin's alongside. Mark, of course, involved in leading up the community relations arm of Seneca Meadows, who has done an awful lot for a lot of organizations, a lot of benefits, a lot of things that help people out that may not be able to afford them. And you do a lot during the course of the year, I know, Mark, with the community area. I know you're continuing to do that. I know you take case by case. Give us a little view of what's been going on in your neck of the woods. I know you're involved in handling these types of things, working with our communities, and it's got to make you feel good about some of the results that are a result of doing what you do for them.
Absolutely, and thank you for recognizing that. And I just feel humbled that I can go out there and represent our team and our people every day in the community and spread that goodwill. And last week we participated and sponsored in the 38th annual American Cancer Society golf outing over at the Seneca Falls Country Club, and they had just had a great day, and they raised a lot of money for a good cause, and it's really special when you get all those folks together and around a common goal, and it's amazing, the positive force that can be.
And I agree with that. And there's one sour note that I read in the paper, and you and me talked about it briefly, and maybe it's my personal opinion. Since it's my show, I probably can have a personal opinion in it. I think what I found sort of troubling is a Little League team turned down your support that you had given for several years. I probably know that, knowing you as well as I do, that may have been a bit sad to you and Kyle and the rest of the management team there, because to me, I don't know why we're involving kids when, in fact, Seneca Meadows has stepped forward and been a sponsor, and all of a sudden they decided to write a letter and say, no, thank you. Your views on that? Was that a surprise to you?
Well, I think it was an unfortunate situation, but we just need to stay focused on helping everyone in the community, and that was their prerogative.
Exactly. Well, it certainly is. So, Kyle, we got a lot going on out at Seneca Meadows. I know you gave me a flyer before we went on the air. Talk a little bit about, you got a couple of areas. You got Mulch Day and you got the upcoming construction. Give our viewers an idea of where the construction stands.
Okay, well, our Mulch Day actually went off middle of last month, and another great event. Every year it just continues to support the community. We had north of 250 families come and get some mulch so they can beautify their homes and hopefully make things look better in around Seneca Falls. Our construction activities, now that Mother Nature seems to have finally been able to stop the spigot of this rain that we've had, is in full bore. So the $12 million odor control project that we started last year, we're about 70-80% complete. Last year we spent about $7.5 million of that, $12 million, in order to get our odors, keeping those odors on our property. Or better yet, what we're really finding is with these new capping projects, we actually put 25 acres of permanent cap on the western side and another 20 acres on the eastern side. Now that gas is getting over the gas to energy plants and making renewable energy, which is what we've always wanted it to do. So we've had a very positive outcome with those construction projects and the 92 new wells that we put in last year. We've got 50 more planned for this year. Again, we're putting these in 2 to 5 years before regulatorily required. So we're always ahead of the game, trying to be that good neighbor. Keep the odors and the operational odors on our site. We're looking at some new odor control equipment that'll help the operational odors, because now we seem to be just getting operational odor notifications from the public. Year over year, odor complaints are down, depending on which months you look at, anywhere from 80 to 400%. So, and more importantly, both Mark and myself, when we're out there in the community working with these organizations and these great entities that we support, they're telling us, whatever you've done, keep doing it. You've made a difference. It's much better than it was. keep the ball rolling that way, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Go ahead.
So Jim actually,
Yeah.
I brought a couple of visual aids, not
Okay.
signs, visual aids. I brought in for us to take a look at.
I'm not Greg Lazaro.
So that is basically our year-over-year odor complaints. The blue is 2016, and the salmon, magenta, red, whatever that color is. I'm colorblind in that.
So am I.
So you can see the year-over-year difference in March, April, May, significant decreases in odor complaints. And I'm sure we'll continue to see that. You see these upcoming months, we had some significant odor complaints. We started that project this summer, or last summer, in June, July, and I think that actually shows in October, November we started to see significant decreases in odor complaints, and it's just continued to get better.
And obviously, as you and me have talked, Mark Benjamin and Kyle Blacker, my special guest this morning representing Seneca Meadows, give us an update on what's going on. The odor control certainly is something that is paramount. It's the number one complaint that I hear when I'm watching the town board meetings that you address, that you're at, and some of the speakers get up and go a little crazy on the fact that they're concerned, obviously, and you respond in kind, and it looks like the stats prove that you're improving, and that's the main goal, to improve.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you a question, and certainly I noticed that the Environmental Action Committee, which I know was under the auspices of Doug Avery and his group, certainly they're not endorsed by the town board, and they really have no authority based on the town board. I see in the paper, and I wasn't reading it very carefully, they're getting some equipment from the DEC. Do you know anything about that rumor going around, or is that something they're going to be testing? Do you have any clue what that might be?
Yeah, that's actually a grant program that the DEC has done. They did it back in 2013.
Okay.
And if you remember back one of Greg's forums,
right.
Some of that information I brought to light again just to refresh everybody's memory. The New York State DEC has this program to allow people to submit their wants to test the air, to test the water, to test things, right. To make sure that the DEC and the environment is being protected.
Okay.
They did that in 2013. This was actually the concerned citizens of Seneca County.
Right.
Did it, took the canisters, gave it to the DEC. The DEC tested them, came back with a summary report that there were no issues. And we feel very confident that the same will happen here. The little bit I've read from what Mr. Avery said, they plan on putting them around the schools and around other public gathering places, which is great.
Right.
Look forward to see those results, and we're more than confident that we're not going to see anything outside normal background, which is basically what they saw last time.
Very good.
Because all the things that we're doing are working.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to Mark. Mark, you mentioned you're involved in a lot of community affairs and a lot of support that makes you and the management team at Seneca Meadows feel good, and it results in some good fundraising by very worthwhile causes. It's got to heighten your interest and your satisfaction, you representing the Seneca Meadows, to see an event with your support and help that may not have been able to be put together without the support. It's got to make you and the entire company feel good when you can do the things you've been doing, and you will continue to do. It's got to make you feel good about that.
Well, we're all very pleased to be able to go out into the community and make this a better place to live, work, and play. We've got myself and some other folks on our team go out and help with packing food for the local backpack program, sometimes on a weekly basis. So it's just nice to be able to get out there and do those things. Over the weekend, I attended all the commencement ceremonies for the local high schools, and that's an inspiring. Those are inspiring events to attend, and we provide some scholarships to local graduating seniors, and the purpose of that is to again look at that as also building our future environmentalists and conservationists, and those scholarships are targeted to those students furthering their education in those fields.
Very good. Well, it's time to take a commercial break, and Seneca Meadows, thank God, is one of our great sponsors for the Weber Show. Let's take our break, hear from our great sponsors. And one of the races at Seneca Meadows makes me read something about an upcoming event, which I never forget to do. We'll come back after this. Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. Seneca Meadows is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Cicino's Live, Laugh, Eat Well. It's the Italian way. It's also the Cicino's way. Visit one of their 3 locations, Waterloo, Geneva, and now at Del Lago Resort and Casino. Order online for pickup or delivery at cicinos.com. Welcome back, everybody. It's a dog with you on a Weber this weekend on Monday, the 26th of June. Hope you're enjoying it. And as I said on the opener, it's amazing to me how fast this month is gone. We're looking at the 4th of July week. But listen, with a couple of executives in from Seneca Meadows, we plug their events, and I make sure I don't forget this. We're talking Catch a Frog, all right? It's coming up this coming Saturday, July 1st, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Catch a Frog. They're fast. They're slippery. And they can jump right out of your net. So why is it so much fun to try to catch frogs? We just told you. Come join the fun as we meet a variety of frogs, discover their secrets, and try to search for their friends with our nets. To register, give a call at 315-539-5624. The location, Seneca Meadows Wetlands Preserve, Black Brook Road in Seneca Falls. Again, it's coming up this Saturday, July 1st, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's a free and it's a family affair from the Seneca Meadows, who puts on these events, seems like every other week. We'll have some more additional events. Matter of fact, I think I got a note in the mail the other day, and I'll be asking my fine friend out there to increase the font so I can read them. No, just kidding. We have a good time with that. By the way, speaking of great sponsors that we just rolled, I thank Seneca Meadows for being a sponsor of this program. But also we got to talk about some baseball, baby. If you really want a baseball game, and my friends out there, the Omens, Leslie and Bob Omen, the owners, Leslie being the general manager, I know they've had a tough year. I think they're like 4-13. Surprising to have an off year for them. But if you really want to watch a good baseball experience, go to Coburn Park in Newark. And I plan to go there Wednesday night because I understand the weather's going to be good. It's a doubleheader. Starts at 5 o'clock. Check it out. Newark baseball. Nothing quite like it. The field is manicured to perfection. And the food, Mark and Kyle, is 100% superb. sausage sandwiches, hamburgers, cheeseburgers. Good beer stuff, good calorie stuff too, if you want to put on a couple of pounds. So if Bob and Leslie Ullman are checking out my show today, and by the way, they're great sponsors of this show, you'll see the dog on Wednesday night, and I will not be eating lunch. I'll be coming to watch some baseball. Well, let's get back to Kyle Black, and along with Mark Benjamin joining us this afternoon on the show. We talked about, during the break, want to plug the open house, talk a little bit about the open house coming up.
Yeah, so our annual open house is coming up July 30th. It's a Sunday. Noon, so everybody can get to church and do those things. Looking very forward to it. Last year, unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate so great. We only ended up with about 650 people. We normally see north of 1,000 people come out to get educated, see what's going on. We have we bring in 4 tour buses, air conditioned, because it's usually hot midsummer.
Sure.
And myself and the team take them around, take them on a tour. This year as well, Finger Lakes Rail has graciously offered to continue participating, so they're going to have a train ride from the RRP park that they're working in and moving some agricultural products in. They're going to give a train ride into Seneca Falls. That was a very popular addition last year, and our friends at Finger Lakes Rail have graciously offered to do it again. So we hope to get a big turnout, get everybody out. All our team will be there, our consultants, answering questions. Again, our open door policy is as open as it can be that day. And we hope to really get people out there and show them what we do to protect the environment, to make energy, and generally to be a good neighbor.
So it's actually 4 weeks from this Sunday, the 30th of July. Sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm going to try to get out there. I've never made one of the open houses, but I'm going to check my schedule, try to get out there and see the fine folks out there. You know, Kyle, I think you and me have hashed this over several times. I know you have been to probably every meeting, along with Mark, at the town level and certainly the county level. I've often wondered, with all that goes back and forth, and some of the detractors of Seneca Meadows, which, by the way, you have a right to be a detractor. I'm not saying this is America. You can dislike something, and that's fine. We're not talking about being in Moscow here, but I think sometimes the tone gets out of control. And I've often wondered, when you hear about shutting down Seneca Meadows and closing you guys, whether it be next month or in 5 years or in 10 years, I wonder what the attitude of the employees are that work at Seneca Meadows. They must have to really suck it up and kind of ignore that static and to preserve and to, take care of their families, but knowing full well there are certain people that would like to shut you down and close you up. I'm sure the attitude of some of those employees, I know they're hard workers for you and Mark, but I got to wonder sometimes that's got to be a detriment to them.
It's tough.
It's got to be tough.
It's tough. The job that they do is the 5th most dangerous job in the world, number one. Number two, they're basically doing a job handling what nobody else wants. Everybody puts their garbage at the curb and they forget about it. Our 80 to 100 men and women are out there every day doing the right thing with it, putting it home, packing it, covering it, getting it ready to make that renewable energy. It is tough because their neighbors are living around them. Some of their neighbors, I've heard some of our people that they have next door neighbors that they've lost friendships because of the rhetoric and the amplitude that has ramped up over the last 12 months or so. And it's very unfortunate because obviously the landfill's been here a long time, Seneca Falls has been here a long time, and Waterloo's been here for a long time, and we've always found a way to work things out. And that's it. To me, it's kind of like a microcosm of what's going on nationally.
Yeah.
When you don't work things out and people get angry, then people do bad things. And that's where I think Supervisor Lazaro and the current town board and ourselves, obviously, have really pushed the let's work together on things. But back to our people, our people are our most important asset. We ask them to go to work every day in that very dangerous job with equipment and dealing with a bunch of over-the-road truck drivers, which is also a difficult job.
Yeah.
And they do it well, and they hold their chin up. And we just had a great event here a couple weeks ago, a heavy equipment rodeo that we had 4 events that within our division. One of our gentlemen won, and he's going to move on to the next level. And it was a great family day. We had families out. We had a barbecue. We cooked steaks. and that's what keeps our employees going. They know they work for a great company. That's why they're so befuddled as to this negative attitude that people have taken upon us, especially when we have these open houses, we have an open door policy, but the people that are pushing this don't want to even come and educate themselves. So
I think, and I think from where I sit, I'm 72 and I've been here all my life pretty much. Moved here when I was 2. Moved to Geneva after I got married for 5 years, and we came back and bought a house on Green Street. And I think I can't recall in my lifetime where we've had a more polarizing issue regarding Seneca Meadows. I mean, whether you can agree to disagree and say the odors are ridiculous and you're not doing anything, and I really have an issue, and I know folks are going to say, well, yeah, Weber, because they're a sponsor, so he's going to say this. Listen, I try to be as honest on this show as I can, and I like Kyle Black and like Mark Benja. They're good friends of mine. Yes, they're sponsors. When you do a show, you try to secure sponsors, and that's what I've always done all my career, whether it was radio or now it's this show here. But what I'm concerned about is my attitude has always been, even if I was good friends with Kyle and Mark, and I found out, and he's from the area, and they weren't putting a dime into restoring credibility and doing anything whatsoever to improve it, then I would be concerned as well and say, hey, wait a minute. You guys really haven't done what you guys should be doing, and that is to improve the conditions, try to eradicate the odors as best as can be possibly human to do, spending tons of millions of dollars to do it. And I know everyone's going to watch me and say, oh, yeah, because they're a multi-million-dollar corporation or billion-dollar corporation, whatever. My view has always been, if Kyle and his team and Mark and these guys did nothing, sat on their behinds, did nothing since this all started years ago, then I would be as concerned as you are. But to me, I see an attempt that's being made, and I know corporations make a lot of money. But you know what? I worked for a major corporation, ITT, for 44 years. Well, it was Gould's Pumps. But these people like to keep their money too in a corporation. They didn't have to spend a dime if they didn't want to. They could have said, hey, have them force you out. And that's the point I'm trying to make here with my commentary, is my view is you guys have tried, Kyle, from day one to make it better. And it's not 100%, and you're still working on it. You're still doing the construction. And I think that's a yeoman for you guys, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, look, I mean, when these odors, when these, back to the chart, when these odors really started in the early winter of 16,
right,
we were all over it. We came up with a plan, and a new company bought our company.
Right.
They very easily could have pulled the reins back and said, let's wait and get our feet wet. What happened is the whole senior leadership met with town of Seneca Falls, town of Waterloo County, fully engaged in the issue, and said, when our people come up with a plan, we're going to be fully behind them, and they did.
Yeah.
They came up with $10 million of unbudgeted CapEx to go out and attack these issues and get them once we formulated our plan and executed it. So I think that goes back to the it's a big corporation.
Yeah.
It's great to have that kind of big corporation behind us, but at the end of the day, I live here. I grew up here. Mark lives here.
Right.
All our people live here. We are a local company. We've always been a local company, and we'll always be a local company. It doesn't matter who owns us, because who runs the place, and that's what matters.
That's right. Well said. Well, my friends, as we look at the clock, it's almost 3:30. It's amazing how fast this show goes. Mark, first off, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for coming in and giving us an overview on community relations, and we look forward to having you come back soon.
Thank you once again, Harold.
All right. Kyle, as usual, thank you for spending some time. I know you're a busy guy, so to carve out 30 minutes or 45 minutes by the time you get back to your office, I know you're not going to go to the golf course. You got work to do, I'm sure, back at the desk, and thanks for spending time with us.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Actually, we're about to meet some of those scholarship winners.
Good.
Are coming over to our facility.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We look forward to heading right over there and meeting those young people.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great. Well, again, thanks a lot for carving some time out. We
Thanks.
appreciate it. All right, Kyle and Mark, we'll come back definitely on this show down the road. We'll get an update down the road. We'll let you know when that is. By the way, next week we're going to take Monday off. It's 4th of July weekend, so the dog won't be doing a show on July 3rd. On July 10th, a unique show. I've never met her. I've watched her podcast on this network. Melissa Killerly does a show, and it's very good. I've watched it a few times. I've always been curious about meeting her. So why not invite her on my show and meet her really well? We'll do an interview with Melissa Kitterly coming up on July the 10th. And then on July 17th, we piggyback what the Seneca Meadows folks have been saying. Greg Lazaro, Lou Ferraro will be here on the 17th of July. And a show that I'm really looking forward to, on the 24th of July, we will have the likes coming in of the Child Advocacy Center up in Waterloo for the abused child. They're opening it. They had a new place. They just opened up in downtown Waterloo for kids that need help. And I think it's wonderful. So that will be Valerie, I think her name is Valerie. And of course, the other one is Megan Peter, who is an assistant district attorney for Seneca County. And I apologize because I can't remember the Valeries, but those two will be in here on the 24th of July talking about that center. We look forward to that interview as well. So speaking for Kyle Black, along with Mark Benjamin and Jim Senecropi, this is the dog bidding you farewell. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, folks. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend.